you're on.
We're good.
All right, good morning, everybody. Thanks for being here today. We're going to call to order our meeting of the Finger Lakes Horizon Economic Development Corporation here at 8:31. And we'll start with an introduction of guests. So we have Russ Gendel and Steve Meyer with Harris Beach. And here in the room for the first time in too long, we have a guest, Jim Moon with Howard Hanna. So thanks for being here, Jim. Our next item on the agenda would be an executive session if we need one. And
We do actually, to discuss particular companies' financials.
okay. So ask for that motion to enter executive session.
So moved. Second. Third.
Everyone and everyone, all right.
Runner team today.
So all in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, Jim.
Enter executive.
way too technical for me.
It's, yeah. I'll, share more of it later.
Yeah, where I work, simple is good. We just press one button. Mute, unmute.
Yeah. Mute button, I can think of.
It's a little delayed, that's one reason TV is going to.
Please look, we just pick up the phone.
Forget.
All right, we have a motion to exit executive session and re-enter open session.
Second.
Second, Kim. All right, all in favor? Aye. All right. Move on our agenda and let our guests back in the room. Item number 3 on the agenda was the review and approval of our minutes from our July 20 meeting. They were provided in our packet. Does anybody have any questions, comments, revisions on the minutes?
Move to approve.
All right, Tim, the motion.
Second.
Second, Janice. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Carried. Item number 4, changes to the agenda.
We need to add corrective action plan and loan procedures review.
Okay, so adding items 2 and 3. Okay. And with those 2 additions to the agenda, we'll move on to item 4, or item 5, our finance report.
Yep, I have check 345 through 348, totaling $168,790. The $123,790 of that is the Empire Pipeline Community Benefit Fund. We share with the municipalities. There's one more year that we will receive that money, which is 251, 290 or something like that. So we share.
In our packets, we have the, kind of an early draft of the budget for next year. Is that just
We'll need
information
to
purposes?
approve it, yeah, just so you kind of
Okay.
review, ask any questions. We will have to approve all 3 budgets at our October meeting, because we have to have that uploaded to the ABO by the end of October.
Okay. All right, so that's for information purposes today. Take a look through there's one here for Horizon, and then there's a second one for Capital Resource Corp, but we'll talk about that at our next meeting.
Yeah, the Capital Resource Corp, that budget's really simple. There's not much to that one. Horizon's relatively simple. IDA is not as simple.
Any changes really on it? So just take a look through that in between now and October, and we'll have more information.
Yeah, if there's any changes to either one of those, or you have questions, let me know, and we'll make sure you get the final draft with the next board packet. But I don't foresee any changes to CRC or Horizon. You never know. So,
Good. Are there any other questions, or any questions on the finance report? Then ask for a motion to approve and accept that report. All right, next one.
Second.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. And we'll move on to item 6, our action items. Our item number 1 is Caster Performance Systems. And for this, looking for a motion to extend the term with the provision that there'll be a project started. It was originally within the first 2 years, I believe, and now extended to within the life of the loan. The 7-year term.
So we're not changing the term.
The term isn't changing, we're changing the time frame constraint of when Casters would start construction of their expansion to occur prior to the end of the term, which is a 7-year term, with.
is that going to pass? Because he's going to have to abstain. I just thought of that, 'cause you only got 3, and Amy is on Zoom.
Anything you have to step away?
Can't vote.
Can't vote.
She can't vote,
You know.
it has to be a person.
Oh, right.
Okay.
I don't know, well, Russ, maybe you can chime in on whether you think I should abstain or not on this, that they do have a banking relationship with Lions National Bank. They work with some, not me, or someone that reports to me.
Yeah, there's no legal conflict. And we've discussed this a couple times, I think, from an optics standpoint, when you have a board that can vote, it's better for you to abstain, but there's no legal reason for you to abstain.
And the banking relationship has nothing to do with the action
Right.
that we're
Right.
Right.
considering.
I'm comfortable with voting for it,
Okay.
if you guys are all comfortable with that, having everything disclosed and talked about and shared with the council. I'm comfortable with that.
And I keeping the banking relationship a secret.
Okay.
But, it doesn't have anything to do with the action,
Okay.
in my view.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Me too.
Okay.
Right.
Then with that, I would
I agree with
I
that.
would be in favor of that. We don't need a roll call for this one, I don't think. There's not a resolution, so it'd just be a call or aye.
Make a
So
motion.
would someone make the motion then for that change to the
So
agreement?
moved.
Second.
Janice, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any noes, any abstentions? All right, carried.
Right.
For item number 2, we have the corrective action plan with our, do you want to?
Yeah, so we have, as I mentioned in the email, this is from our OSC audit on Horizon's loan fund. I won't rehash what they covered or what they went over, but when they gave us their initial findings or the final findings report, you have, I think it's, well, again, you're supposed to have 90 days to just respond to it. They only gave us 60, but whatever. We responded within the time frame they gave us. And we got a letter back from them stating that that response to them, which was just our initial response back, they took as our corrective action plan. So as far as they were concerned, our
It was closed.
requirements were done. That wasn't our corrective action plan. It had a lot of the elements of one, but it wasn't it. And rather than just say, okay, they accepted it, we're good, I'd rather tie up any loose ends and actually submit to them, in spite of you thinking we submitted one, we didn't. Here it is now, still within the correct time frame. Thank you, I guess. So that is what you have in front of you. There are a couple of typos, we'll fix those in there. We've really found 2 or 3 of them anyways. So we'll fix the typos, but in general, I sent that to you for your review. It really is, and I can understand why they assumed what we sent them was a corrective action plan, because it does carry almost all the same descriptions and clauses in it. There are just some additional elements we added to it that I already outlined to you, just adding a little bit more specifics and some timeframes to it. So, open to any questions or comments on it. I think we should do the loan fund procedures first, because this,
I was just
yeah.
looking at that. So that's a good recap of that. And we'll see if we can give an overview then of the third item on the agenda, and then we'll actually vote on the third item first and come back with it. Why don't you give the overview on that one too, because they are kind of coupled at the hip.
So within one of their findings, they stated we didn't necessarily have all the standard written policies and procedures that they were comfortable with, that we should be reviewing at every one of our loan reviews, project reviews. So we had all of it, nearly all of it, listed within the actual loan application itself. And then, as we had mentioned numerous times, we had some unwritten but standard policies and procedures within it. We just took some of those unwritten ones and put them into writing, and then we added a lot of the information that was contained within the application and just put it in this document you have, that you've now seen. So it just mentioned, and I don't, just maybe a quick rehash, that the parts that they were most concerned about was us having a description on what we would use as collateral and those sort of things. If things had to go to collections, what is that process and that sort of thing. So although we had that all, we just didn't have it in writing. So we took what is our standard procedure and put it in here.
Main issue was having a formally adopted set of policies that were consistent with what practice that we were doing. It wasn't the issue with the practice, it wasn't formalized in a policy. So this is that policy.
Right, the document has now formalized that, our procedures, and we do have in there, we have some descriptions that give us the flexibility that we need when we review a project. So although we say here's a typical procedure and process, we have the right within it to deviate from that if the loan review committee and or the board sees that.
Is there any kind of version control date and timestamp that we probably should just add, so as it gets going forward? I mean, just, sorry, since I work for a company that does audits.
Yeah, no, that's a great suggestion.
It breaks my heart that they told you guys you were off the hook, but congrats on taking the initiative to doing it properly, so I'm proud to be part of that. Right?
That's all they
So-
found.
Right. I mean, they had to look kind of hard, but
Well,
I don't know about that.
I'll leave the,
Yep, she's gonna leave the political part out.
Yeah,
right. I know,
And
I
invite
know.
any other audits. So
Right.
I'll take the mic away. Steve, does anybody have any other questions on the formal loan policy that was?
Great job.
provided?
Great job.
Go ahead. I would then ask for a motion to approve the formal loan policy. Thanks, Jim. And
Second.
Janice, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, carried. We then go back to the item number 2, the first description that Steve gave, which is the corrective action plan that we'll be submitting to the state, which references the document and the changes that we've enacted here since that time.
right, we flipped it because within the document we're looking at
Reference
now,
the-
it references the approval of the
Yeah.
previous document.
Yep.
Okay. Any questions on that corrective action plan, the formal one going to the state? And I do like that you're doing that, just to put it out there on record. That's a good touch.
Yeah.
So,
We've
that's for that motion.
What they're used to getting is a corrective action plan, probably less than what we're actually.
Right.
Yeah,
we've actually doing.
yeah, right.
Guessing that's the case.
No, it's definitely going above and beyond. Yeah. So, that's for that motion.
Second.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, that's carried. Okay, concludes our agenda. We'll have another meeting when, actually, we'll have one next month because we'll need to review the meeting of the budget again. So, until next month, I'd ask for a motion to adjourn. All right, thanks, Kim. Oh, second, please.
Second.
Second, sorry. All right, and then we don't vote on that, so that is adjourned.
So I've learned.
I've learned something apparently not well enough, but we do need a second, so. So we'll switch gears, we'll call to order the meeting of the Finger Lakes Economic Development Center. Inventory, it's 9:09, that's right now 7. We'll start with the introduction of guests, and we have the same, well, I think Steve may have stepped off, we have Russ, Harris Beach, and Jim Moon here in the room, so thanks to our guests for participating. And Noah, sorry, Noah. Do we need an executive session for this entity today?
We unfortunately do to discuss potential sale of land.
Okay, I would ask for a motion to enter executive session.
So, second.
Second, Janice, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It's not your time.
We're good.
Right, we'll exit executive session. Can we have a motion to do so?
So moved.
Second, Tim, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, and Noah got in there too.
Right.
I'm back in open session here, and we'll move on to item 3.
Jim's joining us.
Welcome back, Jim. We're gonna move on to item 3 here, the review and approval of the minutes from our prior meeting, August 17th.
Move to approve.
Right, thanks, Tim.
Second.
Janice, with second. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I did hear it was the best run meeting of the year. So,
Tomatoes were awesome.
I'm
Oh, yeah,
so
we forgot
sad
to
we
tell Brian
didn't
you had
pull
done
them all.
this
Yeah, she brought food and stuff with her.
Well, both times, just
Well,
saying.
this-
We'll move on to item 4 then, changes in the agenda.
I don't believe there are any.
You don't want to accept the loan policies for, to do CRC next month, but because we have loan funds in here, do we need to? No.
We're good.
All right.
Wait, I guess maybe we should add approval for me to negotiate a land sale.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I do think adopting the loan policy is a good idea. Good.
Do that too.
That's number
Do CRC next month.
3. All right, so we'll move on to the finance report.
I have, ready here. Check number 5998 through 6021 and E100 through E02, E102, can't speak this morning, which is payroll, New York State retirement, totaling $153,786.39. I will point out, check number 6019, spring sheet metal, that's the final payment for the roof for the Seneca building. They had a couple minor things I need to take care of, and then we should receive our warranty.
Good.
Should be good.
On that topic, are you guys pleased with how that all went and them as a company? worked
Yes,
with it?
yes, yes.
That feels like it went fast, too.
Not necessarily the expense,
Yeah.
but yeah, the work was good.
Yes, Joe was pleased. And they cleaned up after themselves really well and no issues whatsoever.
Great. And we've had rainstorms since they put it in, so that's all good, right?
That's all good.
Big rainstorms.
So in addition to the check detail, we had the profit and loss for the month and the
Yep.
year to date. Did anybody have any questions or comments on any of that or on the loan status reports? We're in the packet. Okay. Ask for a motion to accept and approve the financial report.
So moved.
And second, Kim, all those in favor say aye.
Aye. And thanks, Doreen, for being so detail oriented and
Yeah.
really never have to, it's all there always. So great job.
Thank you.
We'll move on to the management report then.
Go first, or?
Sure, I don't, no, we just talked about the roof. I do not have an update on the Kim Bagwell building. I did get a quote for repair and replacement, which was more than the Seneca building. They need to, Joe talked to the supervisor for spring sheet on the Kim Bagwell building because there's no drains currently on that building, so the water pools, they do have a couple leaks, so, we're waiting for a plumber to come and look at that and get a new quote for repair. They did think that the repair would tide us over for a couple of years, so if we can get that done, that would be good. So I'm just waiting for updated costs on that. Other than that, I don't have anything.
Okay. I think Mike's report was in the minutes for, his meetings and a couple updates on that. Unless you guys have anything to share for him.
I know, his biggest update is that he and his wife Stephanie are now proud parents, so that's a
Awesome.
pretty big, they have a permanent visitor now, so that's a.
That's bus.
Yeah.
All right.
And he was still nice enough to jump on Zoom with me this morning, make sure I got through and made everything work.
Once you pass along our best regards
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
Congratulations.
My additions here, we're keeping you guys kind of along here. We do need to get with, in one of the discussions I think I'd like to do, and I'll see what your availability is, but the challenge we did get some RFQs received that I sent out to you on, for potential housing developments on the former Fettridge farm. Trying to coordinate everybody's schedule is a challenge, especially between the developers and 7 board members. Taking from my experience on the DR states, the regional DRI committee, what I text me sure it's working here. There's some definite benefits to having the review group be common, so the same at each of the presentations.
Absolutely.
So what I would like to suggest is that we have a subcommittee, three of our board members be able to, it's easier to coordinate, but have just 3 board members sit in on the meetings with the developers, and then those 3 and myself can report back to the full board, if that's agreeable to all of you. I'd like to do that, and I will follow back up and get that going really soon. Like, you'll hear from me maybe today or tomorrow at the absolute latest.
And then Steve, maybe the other board members can just, if they want to attend to listen
Sure.
in, they can attend, but it's not gonna be based on their schedules. So at least they get some familiarity with.
The only challenge with that would be if it's, and that's fine, I really don't mind. I would just need enough prior notice of that, because it would trigger whether or not we have to actually.
Triggers a quorum.
Yeah, if we have 4 board members at a meeting, we have to, it becomes a public meeting, we have to
Okay, never mind.
publicize it, and but there's value to it, so I don't mind taking the extra step.
I always forget.
It also means we'd have to live stream it, which is okay. It would just likely be a large part of it in executive session, but it's okay. So yeah, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. So I'll get back to folks with that. It was fun. I was kind of recast the presentations I gave to KC 101, which is sort of their first year student orientation type classes. I've done it before. It's just kind of fun to get them to, it's really just an introduction to the community for the students, explaining what's in the area, things they can do, things their friends and family can do when they're here. And I, give them trivia and all that sort of, here's some interesting nuggets on the area. And, I keep getting invited back, so it can't be terrible. And I do ask the students at the end on a scale of, terrible to, can it's okay, where does it fall? And they all say it's okay, so it's not, I think that's good. So, and there's excitement, and one of the things we've tried to figure out is how to, there was genuine interest, I don't know how many of them actually made it, to the activities that went on this past weekend. Both the Finger Lakes Museum had their open house and had like a free kayak rentals, and then Friends of the Outlet had their Cascade event. And a number of the students that I spoke to were interested in going to that, trying to figure out how to get them the information, and there's an app that this college uses that I don't see how we get it out to the students for those groups that don't have the app to be able to publicize it. So it was fun. It was good to see them being genuinely interested in trying to get to some of these events in
I
the
was
area.
thinking about that this weekend because wasn't it Wings and Wheels or something?
Yeah.
In Hammondsport, and I saw the planes flying over. I'm like, what the heck? And then I see it on I Heart Cupid Lake, and I'm like, I didn't even know.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm a full-time resident, so I was thinking about that. I'm like, should there be an app? You know, like theater does a lot of aggregating. Like if you go on a trip and you want to do all these different things, do we try to arrange a partnership with something like theater? Do we do our own app so that all of the property rentals and all the Airbnb folks put the link in so that then everybody, because you and I have talked about how everything's all over the place and there's not one place to go to get all the information.
Yeah, the
I don't know, it was just
chamber has
my only,
muscled up, I guess, the events page on their site. I
Okay.
think that they're trying to address it as much as anyone can. It's one of the fun parts of this area now, is that there's so much stuff going on at any given time. It's hard to be aware of all of it. I don't know, Amy, if you know, the college uses Rafter, I think it's called.
Yeah, it's Rafter, and the idea is that based on what you're interested in, you can join different rafts, and you will get information about those things. So if you want to hear about all the athletic events, or if you want to hear about all the creative, like arts and crafts, these types of events, but they're really staffed by people on campus, so it's really campus centric. There could be a community raft, where if there are events that are happening in the community, we can post them on the community raft. But to Janice's point, that information is not aggregated anywhere fully. And there are a lot of different places where one can go to check to see what's going on, but it's not in one location. So.
All right, well, we can figure out ways to do that. Maybe we'll, at least for QCA, we can work on that community raft. That's kind of a neat idea. I didn't know exactly how to utilize it. That's what the students kept saying. We'll just put it on raft. I'm like, oh, okay.
you're acting super cool and going, okay, yeah.
Yeah, sure, I can do
Got
that.
that, yeah. No problem.
Yeah, Steve, if you have a QCA.edu email, you can join Rafter.
Yeah.
There's an app that you can download, and then you'll be able to see how it works. And trust me, if I can figure it out, anybody can figure it out.
Okay, fair enough.
Go Amy.
Then I think, maybe the only other parts I'll talk about is that we have sent some surveys out. They're starting to trickle back in, not quite as fast as I would like, but I think it has a lot to do with, there's been some fairly substantial turnover with HR managers from our larger employers in the area. To get a good feel on existing employment demand, both now and in the next short-ish term, 12 to 24 months. So Workforce Development sent a survey out for me. The Chamber, I believe, sent it out to theirs, and I sent it out to our list. The responses are trickling back in, but the survey was basically asking, what those demands are, what the vacancies are, and would you have interest in possibly using some international labor, seasonal help if it were available. And we don't have too many of the major employers have responded yet, but I can reach out to that again, because I think most of I'm not even sure we have the right emails anymore, because I think maybe all of their HR managers have turned over. So, and Joe Davis is leaving county workforce. So there's a whole lot of changes in that environment. It's a tough place to be right now with ongoing changing labor laws and the challenge to find and retain employees. The last time I spoke to them, they have sort of an unwritten ratio that they assume just for people to show up to interviews. They have to get 10 interviews scheduled to have one show up. I don't know if that's the right ratio, but there's a large number of just simple no-shows, and it's across the salary side. It's not,
Yeah.
not just for entry level.
Yeah, we face
positions.
that at professional level all the time. In our company, we have, just in marketing, we're operating at, I think we have a 15 to 20% vacancy rate, and and then you make an offer and expect someone to show up and they don't even show up, right? I
So-
mean, it's crazy.
I can't imagine them showing up, but
What's this?
Right,
There's
what's
two
up?
open jobs in the country for every one person looking right now?
Well, the key is if they're looking, there are two open positions for every unemployed
Job seeker.
person.
Oh.
So whether or not they're actively looking, I guess could be argued. That doesn't include, I actually told this to the KC 101 groups, you have to work pretty hard to not work right now. So that statistic doesn't include individuals who, for whatever reason, can't work, right? Something that's preventing them, maybe it's physically or something from working. Those are all able-bodied individuals who are currently unemployed. There's two open positions for them. So it's just a matter of, everyone has their ideas on what the cause of it is, but it would certainly seem that certain benefits and such need to be tweaked. I think that there is definitely a benefits cliff that we see in New York, and I'm assuming it's no different in almost any other state where, there's not too many of those incentives where it sort of gradually weans people off, right? Once you hit a certain income level, you lose a number of benefits available to you, and it ends up negatively impacting you. So it's easier to keep looking for a job than to actually get the job. Not in every case, I'm generalizing, but.
But it is true though, and that level isn't enough for you to live on.
Right.
Right, so it's like, okay, I'm gonna go work my buns off and not have daycare or whatever I need, or not work and get this amount of money and make it work. I mean, it's crazy, because it is a cliff. One of my nephews it's crazy. There's no incentive for them to work more because they just fall off a cliff. At which point-
Actually, Amy, can you hold on real quick? All right, we'll move forward. Amy's got to run, so let's get to the action items.
Move on to
count anyone?
Oh, actually, your vote, sorry, Amy, your vote doesn't count. So if you do need to leave, we don't need to rush you, but,
All right, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Okay.
Have a good
Bye,
day.
Amy.
All right, but we will move on to action items. So number one here, the lease with Genesee Media Corporation.
yeah, we have a lease that's supposed to start October 1st for Genesee Media Corporation, which is locally WYLF radio station. They would like to rent suites 123 and 124, which are right here. About 545 square feet, $655 a month for a 3-year lease.
Okay. Anybody have any questions on that?
Are they relocated from somewhere else?
Yeah, they were in the village center, which is the brick building at the corner of Main Street and Elm.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think I've walked by there like a million times.
So Genesee just purchased them and wanted different space, had been negotiating or talking there, and so.
Okay. Well, that'll make the retail space available, which I think will be better for the community.
Yeah.
Motion to approve?
Yeah, we need a motion.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
And we don't need a roll call for that.
Right.
Okay. So we'll move on to number 2, which is going to ask for a motion to authorize Steve to negotiate terms on a potential land sale at Horizon Business Park.
So moved.
Motion. And seconded by Kim. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that one's carried. And then item 3 here is the same set of loan policies that we approved at the Horizon EDC meeting. We have those in our packet. We want to formally adopt those at this meeting as well. So,
Move to approve.
thank you, Tim.
Second.
Janice. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that's carried. Our next scheduled meeting is October 19th, and we will have meetings for all three entities on that day to review budgets. So with that, we have a motion to adjourn. Thank you, Kim. In a second.
Second.
All right, we are adjourned.
Take care, everybody.
Thanks, Russ.
Bye, Russ.
Bye, Russ.
Take care.
Yes, sir.
I don't have mic, so.